Recording in progress.
Good evening. It is July 22nd, 2025. I'm Glenda Carlin, and this is my weekly A Course in Miracles and Tibetan Buddhist teachings. Oh, and just as a reminder, I put it in the email, I'm not having a meeting August 5th. That's a Tuesday night, August 5th. I'm on the board here at my condo association, and there's a meeting at the city that I'm going to represent the board. So I won't be here we won't have a Zoom meeting that night. And here comes Debbie. I'll wait and bring her in. Here comes Debbie. So welcome, God Barbie. Welcome, God Angela. Welcome, God Leon. Welcome, God D. And Lucas, God D. And God Lucas. And welcome, God Debbie, God Glenda, and all those that watch this video later. And Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, enlightened beings, please guide me as to what to do and say, and help those listening to have the insights that they need to help them along their path of awakening. Thank you. Oh, and just to clarify, because so much is happening in my mind about insights and resting and all these different transformations. Once in a while, I just need to shake it out, it's called. And that's called like the lion's roar. And lion's roar typically is a silent roar because silence is the purity of God. But this roar is where I put my arms out and I shake my head, my arms, and I go, "Whoa," and I kind of make a big sound because I'm shaking out thoughts of duality. Because as I'm preparing for the teaching, like I sit at my table and I'll make some notes, or I'll walk around and I'm asking Holy Spirit to help gel all this and put it together, because really it hadn't come together yet because so much is going on. So we'll see what falls out of my mouth. But besides that, what I do is I learned this trick from Lama Surya Das, where he told a group of people at an in-person retreat, because this was he took a segment of that in-person retreat and posted it on Be Here Now Network. And he says when he's sort of out of tune, I'm paraphrasing, he breathes in and out of his eyelids. So I sat here and I breathed in and out of my eyelids, closed eyelids. And what that does for me, it brings me in alignment to this vertical great ray that's coming in and going out of the top of that BINDU chakra. Because see, just my mind's thinking these thoughts and concepts is bringing it back in alignment. I could feel it. I could feel that alignment come about. Then I also said Om. Om can be said AUM. Barbie and I were talking about this when she called me. Om is pronounced AUM. 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 So I said that a few times. Then the Ah chakra is Ah. That's the speech and the expression of spirit in the world. In our case, it's these forms, right? Then Hum is the heart, mind chakra combined. Hum. See, that's lining up these chakras as well. So you can do all of this yourselves too to tune up. Just tune you up, bring you back to center whenever you want, besides taking the 3 breaths. And about 2 finger widths below the navel, You take a deep breath from there, up, breathe it up. And then on the exhale can also say the ah. The ah is the throat chakra for speech. And it's the expression. You're expressing your truth through the voice, but also through this form, etc. Anyway, I did that. Okay, so now the topic that of tonight is managing deep-seated anger that started in the Garden of Eden. We kind of talked about this last week. And in this, I'm going to read 5 R's that I found by reading. I read this book. It's called The Big Questions. Salama Das's book, How to Find Your Own Answers to Life's Essential Mysteries. And one of the last chapters, he's got these 5 R's for anger management, because see, he knows the root of duality, or the root that keeps bubbling up, that stops people from being aware of their true essence, their clear light essence, are these emotions. And it's anger management. And he even says, instead of like Alcoholics Anonymous, there ought to be a group called Thinkaholics Anonymous. Because we get in our mind, the egoic mind, of thinking, and there'll be a thought, and then before you know, and this has all been set up by the Son of God when he created the universe. When he created the universe, physical forms, he set up this second mind. Because in the holy God mind, there's no dualism. There's no love and no love. There's no physical forms. And he wanted to play with change, right? So he wanted the change from formlessness to make physical images. But the insight that came this week was so the main change that motivated him to create the physical universe was he was bored with the equal love of God. That equal love of God was just boring. No change in that. So he decided he wanted change. And what would it feel like to not be loved by God? Because now the Course of Miracles, see, this has caused all kinds of things to come to my mind. Course of Miracles, first thing says the opposite of love is fear. But what is the opposite of love? But what has no opposite? But love has no opposite. There is no opposite. But the Son of God wanted to know what the opposite was. That really shocked me. And I kind of yelled out, like, what the F? What motivated him to form the universe of form? He wanted to feel like not to be loved by God. What could go wrong with that thought? So then he created the physical universe, a second mind. So then you got two-ness. You got the holy mind, but you got a second mind. Automatically, then that's dualism, two-ness. So that means love and hate showed right up. But when the Son of God is awake, there's no problem with that. He just, in one of these forms he made, he just goes inside of it, and he's just experiencing what hate feels like when he has maybe the two little toys fight or say mean things to each other. And then he can feel not loving or hate something. Because two-ness, you got to have subject object. You got to have two things, a me and an it. He had me as a spirit, or me as a going inside a body, and then there was an object and another thing. And he's playing with all this duality, and invents. Another week I'll talk of invents. Just consider it. When you create duality, look at the bottomless pit of turmoil that happens. that means each thing has an opposite. So pretty's ugly, happy, sad. You just go old, young, thin, fat. You just go down I mean, I made a whole paragraph of duality of what has happened because he invented two-ness. But when you're awake, you can let these thoughts and feelings come and go because you're just hearing, you're just thinking, you're just seeing. You're not really going into a loop of a thought, a feeling, a thought, a feeling, a thought, a feeling into this an endless story, an endless story. Although that did evolve with him, but I won't go there now. So what I want to express about or summarize right now is, so he wanted to know what it felt like to not be loved. So in essence, that could be hate. So then what happens is there's these emotions that stem from not love. So you got anger, you got aggression, you got violence, you got rage, you got hatred that all automatically come from not from a conditional love. Like if you do this, I'll love you. If you act this way, I love you. If you dress this way, I love you. You think this way, I love you. I mean, conditions. There's all these conditions set on whether the Son of God would love his little toys. So he just played games with them. He was awake and aware. But something seemed to happen. This was all a slow process. He was awake. He knew he was playing this game. And he even told the toys, we're just playing a game. In reality, there's only this clear light of spirit. There's only God. I've used his light. I've compressed his light to make darkness so I could make your images. But within your images, it's combined. The light is combined with the darkness. I've made a subtle light body within you of chakras and central channel and yin and yang and great ray light energy. With underneath this, you got a subtle light body underneath you. It's fueling this physical body. So you're merged with God. You don't know it. You're merged with God. He's teaching them and playing with them at the same time. But then, to me, he falls in love with one of the toys. And when one of the toys falls and dies, then the Son of God is upset, and then anger starts. He's played with anger before, but this time the anger is angry with himself that he can't bring that little toy back to life, but yet he still senses God, etc. He still senses God. He hadn't gone all the way to sleep, but yet the little toy, he pleads with God to bring it back to life, and the little toy doesn't come back to life. So now guess what? So he turns his anger towards God. He's angry with God about not bringing his toy back. So now he's got a hate and an anger for himself and an anger for God. So those feelings are there. And what comes to me is that guess what next happened? He feels guilty. If I hadn't created the universe of two-ness, of duality, my suffering and the toy's death would not have occurred. So he feels guilty that he created this. So he feels guilty. So because when he created the mind, there's a linear process that still happens to this day. We have a thought, then there's a feeling, and then we have an action. Well, in his mind, he got caught in a loop of the thought that he was real sorrowful. He created the dualism and then felt guilty about it. So there was a feeling. And then the action is, well, the action could be he acts it out. He's attacking God. He's reaching out. His action is to attack somebody else, not to blame himself for him creating duality. And doesn't that follow what happens in our life today? Unless you become awakened, is if you hadn't said that, I wouldn't be saying this. If you hadn't done that, I sure wouldn't be acting this way towards you. So it's set up this whole blame game that continues to now. But back at that creation, realize the one Son of God was awake, and the one Son of God contained was whole, contained only this wholeness. But within that wholeness, every part, every cell contains the whole of God. So we were all together at the point of this creation of the dual world. We all agreed to it as the one Son of God. So to this day, but when the Son of God, well, finally, when the Son of God fell asleep, fully fell asleep, it split the Holy Son of God, one mind, into all these arcs of light, all of these little sparks of light that each contain the whole and must be, released during the awakening process. But we were all there at the beginning, at the point of creation, and agreed to this. So in the awakening, I highly recommend, I wrote this this is a new writing, I recommend you consider practicing forgiveness on yourself for agreeing with this idea and creating the universe of form. Because as for me, the central core, the central healing is this in Dzogchen's called Trechet, seeing through, being through to the clear life spirit. Course in Miracles is seeing beyond the body, beyond the flesh to this clear light of spirit. Both are the same thing. So as you forgive yourself, think of yourself as spirit, as God. I forgive myself. I forgive me. If I'd known better, I wouldn't have done it. Oh, all right, so I want to go back before we get to the 5 R's, 5 anger management steps. So the Son of God created the second mind, created the universe of form, the Garden of Eden, this is called. All the trees, all the image, all the animals, everything, insect, created everything. Made the 5 elements and then created everything out of it. So he had a second mind. But right before he totally fell asleep, and he was feeling so horrible for having created dualism, and his guilt was so horrific, he couldn't live with himself. He was so angry with himself. He just kept looping this thought. I did this. I'm so upset. Look what I've done. I've created these images. They die. They suffer. I suffer. I feel so guilty. These thoughts, that the same type of looping that goes on in our mind today, it's called ruminating, going over and over and over the same problem, digging a ditch or rut, is called a deep-seated behavioral pattern, conditioned. It's called conditioned behavioral pattern. Well, he was stuck in the loop. He was in the loop, and he realized, oh, I can't, oh, I don't like this at all. Guess what he created? This really shocked me too. He created the unconscious mind. With an unconscious mind, he could stuff all these thoughts and guilt feelings that he didn't like. He had a place to store them. So he didn't have to listen to them anymore. They were stored in the unconscious mind. But guess what? Even though they're in the unconscious mind, they're percolating underneath, they're perking. You may not hear them, but there's some winds of irritation or whatever. And so those winds are the winds of anger, the winds of guilt that are causing, they're causing current actions, but we're not aware of that. When something happens, and some people might say, why'd you overreact? That wasn't that big. Well, you overreacted because from your unconscious mind was coming not just this lifetime, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of these stored angry feelings that you created dualism or you helped create dualism. Oh, I don't mean to laugh, but damn, this is like perking. But I thought, is that not ingenious? He created an unconscious mind to get the hell these thoughts and feelings he didn't like away. So guess what? In our lifetime, guess what? We're not taught how to handle feelings of when a loved one dies in this life, or you have a separation from a husband or a spouse, or just a loved one, or whatever. A child dies or leaves, or all the animals die, and we don't know what to do with these feelings. Guess what? We stuff them away. We don't look at them. We don't feel them. And when they get stuffed away in that unconscious mind, for me, this is how I understand it. Comes to me. They get as globs. These are dark judgment thoughts. They're now, of course, darkness is filled with light. It's just darkness. We've taken light with our Son of God, powerful mind, and condensed it so tight to a lower frequency to make darkness. So these judgment thoughts, they're globs of darkness. I've called them dung balls before. They get clogged. They're clogged all on the organs, the cells, the central channel, the chakras, the mind, the heart. Bless our hearts, we don't know what we're doing because we've not been taught how to heal, how to let go of thoughts and feelings. But you all are learning that. You're learning how to let go of thoughts and feelings. So what happens is, based on you all learning the nature of the mind is this clear light essence. And it's clear because it's pure. That's why it's clear light. It's pure. That's your primordial nature. Everybody's mind's that way. And then when we're awakened, thoughts and feelings, we just let them come and go. We're not grabbing onto them or pushing away. And then by doing that, we're labeling them with dualistic labels. And those are judgments. And then there goes the clogs. So in awakening, if each of us can be first proactive, make that list of all these people that have been in your life from childhood to adulthood, family, neighbors, friends, jobs, education, you name it, bosses, politicians, you name it. You make the list, go down the list and practice forgiveness on each of these images, because naturally, due to this dualistic second mind the Son of God created, it automatically judges good and bad. So it's not just the bad thoughts that get clogged up on the form, it's the good ones too, because that's dualism. That's not thinking of them as pure spirit or God. So we're not in a panic about this, and don't be downtrodden about this. What I love about it is knowing about it, because you can proactively go through this list over and over and over. And so cleaning it up, asking the Holy Spirit to help you, your higher Christ, Buddha nature to help you. And what happens then, Holy Spirit and your Christ, Buddha nature know you want to heal your unconscious mind. And you want to heal your conscious mind. You want to heal your body from all these judgments and obscurations. So then as you get stronger about confronting these obstacles that we've had repressed or don't think about, Holy Spirit can bring up some images that you hadn't thought about for a while or that are repressed. And then you can let those go. It's a healing, even though in the absolute, there are no images. There are no good and bad judgments. There's no dualism. There's no physical forms. But that's the absolute. We seem to believe we live in a physical world of duality. So we're waking up and letting go of all that because this is the way the Son of God set up our mind, a dualistic mind, to constantly, automatically judge with opposites, good, bad, etc., happy, sad. So lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, picture from the Garden of Eden, then feelings and thoughts of anger that you couldn't bring back to life a loved one, or your anger and fear thoughts of God. Because remember, A Course in Miracles says, and I never used to get this, the last fear you're going to give up is your fear of God. Now, why that is, it goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden. The Son of God judged God for not helping him. When it was, God cannot help him because God can't recognize death. There is no death in the absolute. The Son of God went off on his own to play a game of duality, of love and no love. Oh, it just shocked me so bad. God gives you unconditional love. He got tired of that. What's conditional love feel like? Because think about it, where the hell else did love and fear and hate come from? Didn't come from God. So anyway, it's like, wow, wow, that's way beyond what I thought motivated the change. Got tired of the pure love of God. But see, we at any moment can cut through the illusion to see the clear light of God. And this clear light, in reality, there's only equal unconditional love. That's God. Like that also came to me either today or yesterday. And it shows up as clear light because it's pure love. And I hadn't got that before. I thought the light came first, the clear light. But that love is pure. So it shows up as this high frequency, clear light that you see once the third eye opens, as it starts to open, and it looks like space, but it's also called emptiness, the purity of not being obstructed by any objects, perceptions, sensations. It's pure. But anyway, oh man. So it's love. God, the Course says your love, God's love, yeah, and it shows up as clear light. Because how can you see love? You can feel it, but anyway. So now oh, so at any moment, you can wake the heck up, cut through the delusion to see this purity. But along the way, what I recommend, what came to me, and I can't forget if I wrote it in this email, is to stop this cycle of guilt feelings and say, I take responsibility. I take responsibility for my mind. That was a game I helped invent with all that Son of God, as the one Son of God. I take responsibility for my own mind and for my own conscious mind. I am responsible for my own liberation. I am responsible for my own happiness. I am responsible for my own suffering, right? You take We take responsibility instead of not kicking this can on down the road, lifetime after lifetime, even in this lifetime, of throwing responsibility. God, you damn did it. You did this. The Son of God turned, oh, after he made the unconscious mind and stuffed all this stuff away, what came to me was, then he blamed God for his troubles. You did it, God. Why are you not answering my prayers? Why are you not helping me? Why do I feel so, I hate you. You're not helping me, helping me bring my loved one back to life or etc. I hate you. I hate you. And then guess what happens? And then the churches teach we're thrown out of the Garden of Eden. God threw us out of the Garden of Eden because whatever reason. So then underneath is that thought that God's a vengeful God, I'm going to get you and forever put you in hell, as if this isn't enough of a hell. But anyway, so the Son of God made up this lie. Because how else could he live? He wasn't going, he didn't real, he'd stuffed away that he did it. So he's going to blame God. So we're uncovering, unveiling all these thoughts, all these judgments, and bringing them to the light and letting them go. This was just a game. This was just a big game that had a disastrous result. But and of course it's illusionary. So I want to read something that I read in a post. This is from Milarepa. This is about letting go of the illusion. Just as fog is dispelled by the strength of the sun and is dispelled no other way, preconception is cleansed by the strength of realization. Experience them as baseless dreams. Experience them as ephemeral bubbles. Experience them as insubstantial rainbows. Experience them as indivisible space. So see, as you practice your truths in the Course of Miracles in this Tibetan Buddhism, that's what you're doing. You're dispelling these beliefs, these conditioned behavioral patterns and beliefs that we've lived with, that we've agreed to, that were taught us, but then we reinforced them by keep repeating them, keep living that way. You're undoing these. Okay, so we have this anger. So here's some ways to manage it in the physical world. They're called the 5 R's to practice, which result in mindful anger management and intentional responsiveness. The first one is recognizing. And because these are not that big of paragraphs, I'm going to read this. This is from Lama Surya Das's book, The Big Questions. Recognizing. Notice with equanimity a familiar stimulus that habitually pushes your hot buttons and triggers an unfulfilling retaliatory response, such as harsh words. Stop for a moment to breathe, reflect, and simply relax. Actively acknowledge and feel in your body the difficult internal feelings. See what he's saying? Feel in your body the difficult internal feelings rather than suppressing or denying them or ignoring the discomfort. Just being able and willing to accept that it's there can relieve some of anger's internal pressure. This definitely requires mindfulness and presence of mind, a form of conscious attention to the present moment. See what's happening? You're learning to come into the moment. You're learning to breathe, relax, and reflect and relax, but you're also acknowledging the feelings without ignoring the discomfort or the feelings, because see, that's what we've done lifetime after lifetime after lifetime since the Garden of Eden, even in the Garden of Eden, because these thoughts and feelings and emotions are so, some can be so horrible, we repress them. So anyway, so as they come up now in your life, you want to feel things no matter how light they are or how deep they are. Try to feel them. This continuous mindful practice can give us space for just experiencing anger as an energy. You see anger as just an energy. And a matter of fact, everything is God. This anger was created by the light energy that's within your mind and heart and body, which has not yet become destructive, aggressive, or violent. So I'm going to read that again. This energy, which has not yet become destructive, aggressive, or violent. Initially, anger is just an experience, a momentary energy. Our ego hasn't yet seized on it and reacted. No violence or aggression is directed outwardly or inwardly yet. Be in the present moment. Just be with it. Just be with it. Number two, the second R, recollecting. With remindfulness, remember the downsides and disadvantages of returning hatred with hatred, anger with anger, harm with harm. Then recollect the upsides and advantages of practicing patience, forbearance, tolerance, and stoic acceptance of karma and its repercussions. Remember the Buddhist slogan, this too shall pass. In the second step, find and mine the sacred pause. Rest in it. Try to let go and let be for a short while at last. Ooh, I kind of forgot something. One of the main things that allowed these insights that I've been discussing tonight to come with me and kind of get refined is I've been practicing a post I saw, which is called Nothing Else to Do But Rest in the View. Nothing else to do but rest in the view. You see a whole Course of Miracles at the end, it says just rest, just rest. And in Buddhism, it says just rest your weary heart and mind. So I'd sit in my chair and just rest. And as I rested, because it said nothing else to do but rest within the view. So the view, think about what is the view, V-I-E-W. The view is the clear light of spirit or God's presence. So I'd look out, I'd see the clear light of God's presence. And I noticed everything was resting in the view. Not just my body was resting in the view, but my TV, the chairs, my pottery, the bowls, the sink, the ceiling, the walls were resting in the view. Now, what the hey? I've contemplated that. For me to, I've never ever felt that or saw it before. Picture when the mind has got these thoughts and feelings and perceptions coming and going, and at once in a while we grab onto them or push them away. Guess what's happening? There's movement of thoughts, feelings, emotions, perceptions, of just those thoughts, feelings, perceptions. But what's happens, this within the central channel of the body and the chakras, there's a calm, subtle light energy, a wind, and it's smooth. When it's awakened completely, it's pure, it's smooth. It's not got these chaotic, violent winds. But as these thoughts and feelings are jerking around and I'm wandering off to grab on one and there's movement, just picture there's all this movement in the mind and the heart. It causes these chaotic winds. So therefore, when I look out at external objects, guess what? They're not going to be stable. They're not going to be resting in the view. I won't even think about them being stable, resting in the view, because my mind will be focused on the movement of something, whether it's people coming and going, or just it'll be focused entirely different. But due to over time, with this sky gazing meditation, this relaxing, this letting go of thoughts and feelings, leaving it as it is, the acceptance of things as they are, causes this stability of being able to rest, in the clear light. Wow. Wow. And therefore, then I see everything's resting because that's its primordial state. Before we start shaking it all up, stirring it and driving ourselves and it stuff crazy. But anyway, in this second step, find and mine the sacred pause. Rest in it. Rest in that pause between these thoughts and try to let go and let be for a short while at least. So we're talking seconds, go into maybe 30 seconds or a minute where you're pausing in this sacred pause, this stillness, a calm abiding, which is pure, clear God spirit, which is your spirit, your true essence, is this calm, still, abiding, clear light spirit that's love, equal love to all, equal love to all, even the ones that abused you or hurt you through all this lifetime and other lifetimes. Still doesn't mean we have to invite them to Thanksgiving dinner. We set boundaries, etc. But yet underneath, it's the fundamental recognition of their true nature, which then heals your mind to think of you as this true, pure nature. But anyone you hold outside that circle of purity, out of the circle of your pure Vajra heart essence, your true, your divine heart essence there, then you're held outside the circle of love, the circle of purity. So we're bringing everybody back in, even though it may be brief, and then they may go back out and you judge them again. You bring them back in. It's a constant bringing them back into the circle of purity, seeing through their form to the clear light of spirit of God that they are, and once in a while stopping to think of yourself, the pure, clear light of spirit that you are, and practicing this advanced forgiveness on yourself. If you'd known better, you would have done better. If they had known better, they would have done better. I forgive you. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Besides seeing through them as the pure, clear light of spirit. Number 3, the third R, reframing and restraining. Hold back your habitual negative reaction while trying to see things through the other's eyes. Cultivate feelings of genuine compassion for those who harm you, realizing that they are merely sowing the seeds of their own unhappiness and bad karma. I'm going to repeat that. Cultivate feelings of genuine compassion for those who harm you, realizing that they are merely sowing the seeds of their own unhappiness and bad karma. To take it one step further, practice recognizing the adversary or critic as a teacher, a friend, an ally, helping you develop patience and overcome unconscious, habitual, and unproductive reaction patterns. The most difficult person, situation, or illness can become our greatest teacher, our greatest opportunity. Wow. Number 4, relinquishing. Give up habitual, conditioned reactivity and let go of impulsive urges in favor of more consciously chosen, intelligent responsiveness. Accept the fact that such urges arise rather than suppressing or indulging in them. Just feel and let them be without acting on them, and you will find that sooner or later they ultimately dissolve, especially if the habitual reaction is replaced by a different response. So when you get that urge, replace it with your different enlightened response, whatever that is, relinquishing. You're relinquishing that habitual conditioned reactivity and replacing it with a different response. Number five, the last five of the R's, reconditioning and responding. Now, reconditioning, don't you love that word? That just takes the word conditioned behavior. Condition means it's a habitual pattern. I do this same thing over and over and over. The same thing is we look out and label our friends, our brothers, our sisters, family, or whatever, as bodies. That's the root of the issue. We see them as bodies. We don't stop and in a split second see through their form to the spirit that they are. That's the most habitual pattern we've got, let alone all the other habitual patterns we've developed. Recall the entire situational dynamic you have now reviewed while refraining, relinquishing, and reflecting on how little it will matter in a few months and years. Let go of unwholesome reaction patterns and intentionally choose other desirable ways of responding appropriately, intelligently, consciously, and proactively rather than reactively. This is advanced practice and can prove tricky. In some cases, it may translate into doing nothing, and others responding with equanimity. Ultimately, it means making wiser, more skillful decisions based on conscious awareness and experience. The Tao Te Ching, in Stephen Mitchell's powerful rendering of it, says, patient with both friends and enemies, you accord with the way things are. Compassionate toward yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world. Here's the final paragraph. These 5 mindful anger management steps are like cool, fresh breaths of mindful awareness. They can aerate a claustrophobic hour or day, help us relax and let go, and release a great deal of built up negativity and stress amidst the tumultuous bumper car ride of modern living. I really love that saying. This is bumper car ride of modern living. Just picture you just bumping into this car, this person, bumping into that person, bumping into the next one, bumping into the next one. But how do we look at these people? How do we think of these people? How do we respond to what's going on? But anyway, wait, let's see back here. This practice can profoundly free us from falling into all kinds of regrettable reactivity, as well as the inevitable undesirable outcomes usually caused by impulsive, in-kind retaliation to anger and harm. What is usually called giving tit for tat. This sentence is just so powerful. Let's remember that following the harsh biblical injunction, an eye for an eye, can make us all blind. Whoa! To recover the 5 R's for mindful anger management and intentional responsiveness. See, what he's trying to teach, and I'm trying to teach, is moving from first identifying these habitual patterns that are triggering you, so that you have proactive responses instead of knee-jerked reactions. Knee-jerk just means, in essence, we've got a mind that's running the show. I have no choice in this. I'm being run by I'm a slave to that mind, that ego mind. I want to just damn do whatever that feeling and thought that shows up. So what's happening, you're developing mindfulness, awareness of what the hey thoughts are and feelings are going on in your mind and heart and body. For me today. Suzanne Woodland led our meditation. She did such a beautiful job about self-awareness. Now, of course, the thing we're letting go of in the Course and in Tibetan Buddhism is the self, the body. But in letting go of the thought that we're a separate physical body that's not got this light body merged with it, is, oh, we're letting go of the physical, forgot my train of thought. Is, oh dear, I don't know, I forgot where I was going. But where I ended was powerful, is this physical form is fueled by a subtle light body inside that's made up of chakras that are lined up along the spine, the great ray light coming in and going out, the yin and yang energy, and there's wind channels. That's all light energy from this clear light of God that's animating the form. So we're not a separate body and not a separate light body. It's integrated. It's called a light body, a light body. So anyway, the 5 R's to practice for mindful anger management and intentional responsiveness are recognizing, recollecting, refraining and restraining, relinquishing, reconditioning, and responding. Ta-da! Let's see my notes. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna reaffirm taking responsibility. What I'm talking about tonight is cutting the root. If you cut the root of something, it won't spring back. We can't just pull the weed from the top without digging out the root, because it'll come back. So the root of this anger goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden, where we became angry at ourselves that we could not bring that favorite loved one that fell and died back to life. We became angry at ourselves. We could have done more. So therefore, in every lifetime after the asleep Son of God, there's bound to be loved ones occur in every lifetime, whether they're family or, you know what I mean, a boss or friend, loved ones, and they die. And you many times say, well, if I'd done more, took them to the doctor sooner, if I'd done this, the ego mind just really runs you crazy. Because that is this loop of anger and guilt that I could have done more. And we're cutting that root by you seeing that this was all a game in the Garden of Eden. This was all like those things I read there. It's all like rainbows that disperse in the air. Uh, uh, There's those beautiful things that Milarepa said. I want to read those again. Page 1. I need page 1. Oh, here it is. Put it on this other side. Just as fog dispels by the strength of the sun, experience, these preconceptions, these thoughts, feelings as baseless dreams, as ephemeral bubbles, as insubstantial rainbows, as indivisible space. The Son of God was simply playing with these toys to experience conditional love. Games with them. If you do that little toy, I'll love you. You don't do that toy, I hate you. And actually did abuse and violence to the toys, because he was experiencing dualism was the game. Unfortunately, it's the game. He fell asleep in the game. But that doesn't mean we harm anyone or put our own body in harm's way. But what it does mean is that unconsciously, this thought of guilt that we created, knowing that we created dualism, we created this universe of form as a way to experience the impermanence and change, lays heavy on the unconscious heart and mind. So just cut that, accept responsibility. If I'd known better, I would have done better. That's not true. I'm living differently now. I'm not living from these knee-jerk feelings of anger and hatred that I put on myself, that I hate myself for what I did, that I created this disastrous problem here. That's the essence of it. I created, helped create dualism, helped created the universe of form. That's the bottom line hate and anger and guilt. Of course, God loves us equally, that doesn't recognize any of that. These are all thoughts, feelings, and perceptions that are running in the asleep mind. Okay, any thoughts or questions before I close the recording here tonight? I know this, and what was even wilder was that he created the unconscious mind to stuff all these feelings and thoughts he didn't want to think about anymore. So they're away. I don't have to think about that stuff. I'll just blame God for everything. Or the toys. The toys maybe do it. If you were nicer, I'd be nicer. If you didn't yell at me, I wouldn't yell at you. There's a whole parody of this stuff, right? Oh, I can only laugh now on the other side. Whoa. So let's then practice our practice of advanced forgiveness. Jesus teaches us in A Course in Miracles, and Buddha teaches us as stretch it, seeing through the form to the clear light of spirit that's here, to the love, the invisible love, divine, pure, unconditional love that God has for all his children. God Barbie, God Angela, God Leon, God Dee, God Lucas, God Debbie, God Kareem, God Nance, God Terry Wagers, God Lorraine, God Steve, God Chaz, God Casey, God Susan A., God Jerry, God Gabby, God Angela's here, God Joan, God Joanne, God Julia, God Julia Barker, Gillette, God Sabone, God Corinne's here, God Sally, God Leon's here, Debbie's here, God Lynn, God Lee and Brandon, Barbie's here, God Gonzalo, Michelle, her children, Keith Urban, Rob, Francis, James, God Danelle, God Teresa Power, God Alvaro, all those that watch this video later. And all the six realms of existence, all the six realms, gods, all of you, the small g gods, demigods, humans, animals, hungry ghosts, and denizens in hell. May all your inner, outer, and secret obstacles be removed so your clear light, loving spirit can be unveiled to you. Amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okie dokie, we will stop the recording.